Welcome again. We start in London, where the UK and Kenya are co-hosting a global education summit. It's designed to raise billions of dollars for public education in up to 90 countries, which are home to more than 80% of the world's out-of-school children. Nigeria's President Buhari will address leaders at the event. The summit is happening as governments face huge challenges due to COVID-19 pandemic-related disruptions. Decades of slow but steady progress in educating more children around the world abruptly ended in 2020 when schools closed in most countries. The ongoing disruption to children's education has highlighted the need for governments to devote more resources to address the long-standing inequalities in education systems exacerbated by the pandemic.
Now let's bring in our ICE correspondent, LAPE OLARINOYE, as she has been monitoring the summit, and she now joins us for a bit of a chat. Now, LAPE, what's the summit hoping to achieve in the long run?
Hi, good afternoon to you, Aaron and Ekene. Well, this summit it's been a long time coming. It's been arranged since late last year to essentially bring to the world's attention the need for an educational reform, particularly in countries where there is a lot of gender inequality. For example, countries like Nigeria, Somalia, and Senegal, as well as other countries around the world. I take, for example, Nigeria, where many young girls, we've seen a reoccurrence of kidnappings, particularly in girls and boys boarding houses. These are some of the issues that are pertinent to this summit. The gender inequality in education, as well as the effects of climate change on global education. So countries all over the world have come together to essentially discuss the factors contributing to an inequality in education, as well as an ailing educational system worldwide. Of course, that's been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, LAPE, we speak of the COVID-19 disruption. It's beginning to sound like a soundbite. How exactly has COVID-19 affected global education in specific terms?
Well, let's not focus too much on the third world and how their education has diminished as a result of the pandemic. Let's look at the whole world. After all, it is a global summit for education. Now, as a result of the pandemic, children all over the world were forced to have what we call remote learning, where they were forced to be taught at home via the internet, either through their teachers, their parents, or guardians. And that has seen children all over the world essentially miss out on a year's worth of education. Now, if we look at children that were already suffering as a result of inequality in education, if you add the pandemic to it, it's made it worse for them. Many children don't have access to the internet to even have remote learning. So, of course, 1.3 billion children all over the world have suffered as a result of this. And even worse, because of the pandemic, about 24 million of those children will never return to school. The pandemic being the main factor, and of course, factors like climate change, drought, famines, and so on. And of course, we cannot neglect a huge factor, which is insurgency in many parts of the world. Insurgency has led to children being withdrawn from school for their safety, and so on. And I think the line has just dropped. I don't know if you can still hear me, but I'll just continue anyway.
We can.
So that's what's really caused the fact that young children need to be facilitated back into education. So this summit intends to generate a sum of $5 billion to facilitate that and give countries all over the world the resources they need to make sure that education is essentially equal to every child all over the world.
All right, LAPE, if you can hear me, let's still press it further. And summits tend to make bold promises which are not always fulfilled. What's your prediction for this one?
Well, I mean, the summit has had many leaders from all over the world. The president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, is present, as well as Macky Sall of Senegal and the vice president of Gambia, and so on. We also have present there the Dominic Raab, foreign secretary of the United Kingdom, and the likes. but there seems to be a focus on the financial injection into global education. Actually, a lot of these factors, as I've pointed out earlier there, including the pandemic, insurgency, child marriages, and so on, are not necessarily issues that can be dealt with completely through finance. Actually, a lot of the changes need to be brought about by social and cultural changes. And I think that's the bigger challenge. So the 5 billion injection over 5 years may not be as promising, but the thought of it is going in the right direction.
Okay, let's keep going in that direction. Thank you, LAPE OLARINOYE, Arise correspondent.